What do you mean you're all licking each other's faces?
I don't know, he started it, so we just started licking each other's faces around the table.
Being a celebrity is difficult enough, but going through a widely publicized breakup in front of millions is different. We look at some of Hollywood's most famous partnerships, from Pamela Anderson and Tommy Lee to Frank Sinatra and Ava Gardner. Welcome back to Trend Craze. Let's take a peek at a handy list of relationships you shouldn't try to replicate independently. Number 1. Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton. Film fans were often taken off guard when favorite performers called it quits on their relationships long before the days of the round-the-clock celebrity surveillance. Elizabeth Taylor, a long-standing screen veteran who was as well renowned for her limitless skill as piercing violet eyes as she was for her stormy off-screen romances, was maybe the one exception. Liz has been married 8 times, but her relationship with two-time husband Richard Burton caused the most controversy. The on-again, off-again relationship kept fans on the edge of their seats, especially since reports were rife with references to their volatile relationship, screaming public matches, accusations of affairs, and alcohol addiction. Though the most dangerous addiction neither of them overcame was their unhealthy love for each other. Number 2. Prince Charles and Diana, Princess of Wales. Royal romances are notoriously tense, which is exacerbated by the fact that, until recently, they had to adhere to the Queen's strict rules. For Charles and Diana, this was the case. While the heir to the British throne had fallen deeply in love with Camilla Parker Bowles in the 1970s, he was eventually married off to Diana Spencer, an 18-year-old woman deemed vastly superior by the royal family due to her aristocratic upbringing, chaste personality, and the fact that, unlike Camilla, she'd never been married before. Diana struggled with an eating disorder, depression, paranoia, and Charles' subsequent liaison with the former flame throughout their rocky marriage. Their inevitable breakup in 1996 made headlines, and Diana's untimely death the following year added to the tragedy. Number 3. Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes. Find someone in your life who thinks Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes are a cute couple. There was nothing pleasant about this unusual, quite icky pairing. From Cruise's cringeworthy couch-jumping antics on The Oprah Winfrey Show, to Holmes' declaration that she developed a crush on Cruise as a little girl despite their 16-year age difference. Fans and Hollywood insiders alike were scratching their heads, unsure of what brought them together. There were whispers that it was prearranged, complete with signed contracts. The ominous specter loomed in the background since the beginning: Scientology. Holmes, who was a once vibrant TV personality riding high after a major role in Dawson's Creek, grew quiet and passive beside her more effervescent spouse throughout the 5-year relationship. We still don't know the complete story of what happened behind closed doors a year after their high-stakes divorce settlement and custody battle over their daughter, Suri. Number 4. Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman. According to sources, it was, at least at first, a whirlwind love affair. This was all before the Scientology exposed in the tabloids and the widespread sexual orientation assumptions about Tom Cruise. Cruise and Nicole Kidman met on set of their smash movie Days of Thunder in 1990 and married later that year. Later, the couple adopted 2 children, although it's unclear what caused the pair to split after 11 years of marriage. Many believe it was Cruise's unwavering devotion to the Church of Scientology. In 2001, the action star filed for divorce from Kidman. The same year, the Australian actress was nominated for an Academy Award for her portrayal in Moulin Rouge, and Cruise was granted full custody of their 2 children, Isabella and Connor. The breakup was so acrimonious that Kidman supposedly hasn't seen her children since, even though they're both now in their 20s. Number 5. Whitney Houston and Bobby Brown. Whitney Houston had a vocal range that few other singers could equal, and she ruled the pop charts from the 80s into the 90s, culminating in her blockbuster soundtrack for the 1992 film The Bodyguard. Her downward fall during her marriage to Bobby Brown was made all the more heartbreaking. Brown was frequently chastised for tolerating Houston's severe drug addiction, which he has later claimed peaked near the end of their marriage. Infidelity and drug addiction ravaged their marriage throughout their 14 years together. Her daughter, Bobby Christina, died in 2015 at 22, hauntingly identical to her mother's death in 2012 from coronary artery disease and cocaine intoxication. Number 6. Miley Cyrus, Liam Hemsworth. Keeping track of these two has been hard. Although Miley Cyrus and Australian actor Liam Hemsworth's road to marriage has not been easy. Many devoted fans believe that they were finally in it for the long haul after exchanging vows in December 2018. But less than a year after, the couple announced their breakup for the second time. Photos of Cyrus kissing Brody Jenner's ex-wife Caitlyn Carter on a recent trip to Lake Como added to the turmoil, prompting rumors that the pop star had broken up with her husband over an affair. However, we feel this isn't the last we'll hear from the on-again, off-again couple. Number 7. Pamela Anderson and Tommy Lee. Apart from the specific home movie that began in the era of celebrity sex recordings, Pamela Anderson and Tommy Lee brought us all the can't-look-away drama of their tumultuous marriage. After all was said and done, it was hard to believe that the contentious couple had only been married for 3 short years, with screaming battles, charges of abuse, and widespread drug usage, at least on his end. Although Anderson and Lee have subsequently disclosed that they're on good terms, possibly for the sake of their 2 sons, it's worth remembering that Lee was once sentenced to 6 months in prison for violence. In 1998, Anderson filed for divorce. Number 8. Marilyn Monroe and Arthur Miller. In 1955, acclaimed playwright Arthur Miller began an affair with Marilyn Monroe, even though he was married to his first wife. Well, they looked to enjoy one another in public. There are plenty of issues behind closed doors, including a series of messages Monroe discovered. Miller disparaged his wife and their disappointing marriage. Monroe's 2 unsuccessful pregnancies, for which she received little emotional support from Miller, added to the overall strain. By this time, the actress had become addicted to drugs and had an affair with co-star Yves Montand in retaliation for Miller's lack of interest. Miller brushed off his wife's infidelity, and the strategy failed. In 1961, the mismatched couple filed for divorce. Miller didn't even show up for Monroe's funeral the following year. Number 9. Rihanna and Chris Brown. It wasn't quite a match made in pop music heaven, as it turned out. Although fans were initially ecstatic when Rihanna and Chris Brown announced their relationship in 2008, it all fell apart a year later after a highly publicized domestic assault allegation. It was announced on the morning of the 2009 Grammy Awards that the superstars would no longer be attending. It was implied that the 2 had been in a minor car accident and were recovering. As a result, the subsequent truth bomb shocked their fan bases to their core. Brown had been detained for beating Rihanna, who had black eyes and a split lip. He was sentenced to 5 years of counseling and community service after being charged with felony violence. His clumsy public relations effort and defensive Twitter rants cost him a lot of followers. On the other hand, Riri has moved on to greater and better things. Number 10. Frank Sinatra and Ava Gardner. Ava Gardner was admired for her acting abilities and attractiveness, but her stormy relationship with Old Blue Eyes attracted audiences. Gardner, who had already been divorced twice by the age of 25, began an affair with her elder and married Frank Sinatra in 1949, a fact that they didn't try to hide. After a series of late-night phone calls to Sinatra's house and a joint arrest for a drunken joyride that ended in a shootout that resulted in storefront windows being shattered by their guns, the couple exchanged vows in 1951 after Sinatra imposed a speedy divorce on Nancy. According to all reports, the 2 would have numerous affairs behind each other's backs, and the marriage was always tense. In 1951, the couple divorced. Bonus: Angelina Jolie and Billy Bob Thornton. This is more of a mention than a nomination, but it's no surprise that Billy Bob Thornton and Angelina Jolie's 3-year marriage drew so much media attention. From their Billy Bob tattoos to the vials of each other's blood they wore around their necks. They were strange. But were they poisonous? They were genuinely in love with one another, according to all accounts, and continue to speak highly of one another and their time together to this day. That's all for today. We'll be coming up with more exciting videos, so stay tuned.